Inside the Birds is back. What's up, everybody? It is Geoff Mosher. It's Adam Caplan. And guess what? I think Inside the Birds is the only podcast or news outlet that covers the Eagles that hasn't done its too early 53-man roster projection yet. So Adam and I said, you know what? It's time. We got to get ours going. And that's what we're going to do in this two-part podcast series. We're going to do our 53-man offensive roster projection. We'll start off in this podcast with offense. We'll finish it off with defense in the next one. Adam, I think this year is the most challenging one ever because it's not, like we always say, depth isn't how many people you have, it's how many good people you have. So I don't want to say it's because the Eagles
quality.
Have great depth, but the Eagles have an abnormally high number of players who could make the 53 as opposed to past years. But I don't – we can't sit here and say, oh, we know Willie Lampkin's going to be a good player or not, but he's one of those type of guys where you just don't know. But the Eagles have a lot of those type of players who will battle for a spot on the 53, maybe make it, maybe not, but there's some uncertainty about him, so it makes it complicated.
This is our first – this is our initial 53.
Yep.
I'd love to do maybe August 15th, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Or maybe – camp starting later this year on July 28th. Kind of odd, but maybe we'll do it 2 weeks in, whatever date that is. And then we'll do our final one, obviously, with Andrew DeCecco, and we'll give what we all think the 53 will look like, our own version of it. But yeah, this one, it's like, we're going to do two different shows here, offense one, defense the other. I don't want to say I struggle with offense. I really didn't. It's much harder to do defense.
Mm-hmm.
But the problem is because Howie has a history of keeping a lot of linemen. He likes keeping the guys they draft. And then you've got this Cole Payton quagmire. That was the one I struggle with the most because McKee's contract's up. Dalton's contract's up after the season. I know they don't want to keep four quarterbacks. It's ridiculous. You only dress two. One is an inactive third quarterback. But it's a draft is about the future. It's why they drafted Cole Payton. They think he's got a future as a backup quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to take a while. He's a project. But that was the one that I was like, wow, I could make a case for him on and off the roster. But we'll get to that in a minute.
Yeah, and tight end, right? Tight end's got to be a little bit difficult.
Too many. Yep.
There's so many. And as you just mentioned with quarterback, if you're going to keep a bunch of those or at least one more than you ordinarily do, which who knows, but if you do, then you got to go light. And same thing with O-line. You're going to keep a lot of those. You got to go light in other areas.
Right. And then there is a way to save a spot. There's the Charlie Hewlett, let's cut him first.
Right.
And then we'll sign him back to the 53-man roster once everything clears up in about 5 days. Because I remember when they cut Hewlett, we're like, okay, they're not going into a game without a long snapper. And of course they didn't. They re-signed him later. Right. But that was just to get them to say that there was somebody they wanted to keep. And they knew that they did what we've started calling this like 8 years ago, the roster tango. And you start doing that, and that's what Howie did. It was odd. I hadn't seen that one before, but there's always a method. They're going to have a long snapper, and they did.
There you go. All right, so why don't we? What we do is in this format, you and I we do our own separate ones, and then we compare and contrast. So why don't we start off? We'll go with quarterback. How many quarterbacks are the Eagles keeping on their 53 initially in your too early projection, Adam?
My initial, I'm just calling this initial projection. I don't think it's actually too early, to be honest with you, because you can't do it before the draft. You have to have the draft.
Good point. Really not that early.
Yeah, free agency's done. The beefy or media part is completely done. It's just the Eagles could add a safety certainly by training camp, but the important part's done. The draft is done. So you know what the guts of the roster is going to look like. That's not going to change.
Mm-hmm.
But you just started at the quarterback position. I did 4 iterations of this, and the last one I stopped with, I have him on. I don't feel great about it. I call Peyton is a fascinating athlete who's playing the quarterback position.
Mm-hmm.
We were able to see him in OTAs right in front of us. Big dude. He has some arm strength, but he's major mechanical issues.
Mm-hmm.
And that's going to take him a while, but unfortunately, because he's drafted, he's not vested. You would have to waive him to get him in the practice squad. Well, now the question is, if you're Howie Roseman, do you think you can get away with it?
Mm-hmm.
Is anyone you waive you know that you have a chance to lose the player. So you're willing to lose the player is really what the point is.
Right.
So right now I've got Cole Payton on it, but that, as we've always said, if you're going heavy somewhere else, and this is too heavy, but he's a drafted player 5th round, and you're going to have to go light somewhere else. So we'll see how it impacts my roster management.
Right. So you've got the 4. It's Hurts, McKee, it's Dalton, Payton. If we're going to do a 53 and take one off, it would be McKee thinking that there might be a trade. That's it. Right?
Yeah. I don't see them cutting Dalton. I mean, they're only in the guaranteed $1.5 million. I mean,
why they brought him in for a reason. They had McKee.
Yeah.
They knew.
I would be stunned because Howie liked him. They tried to sign him 3 years ago. It was either between the Panthers or the Eagles. He signed with the Panthers. Now he got his man. But you just got to see how this plays out. This is this Cole Payton's an interesting player, man. I want to see how they use him in training camp. That one is interesting.
Yeah, I agree with you. I still think in my mind that there's some way that McKee might get traded if somebody loses a quarterback.
Sure.
Like what's going on with the Jets there, right? Geno Smith sort of almost got into trouble, and I don't know what's going to happen with him. Somebody else could get injured or get into trouble. You never know. It's been kind of a crazy news cycle with NFL players getting either suspended or in trouble, arrested.
Or accusations,
Yeah. So, but if there's going to be one guy, it would be McKee that you could see not being on the team via trade. That would be it.
Yeah. So what do you have?
Yeah, I had Hurts, McKee, Dalton, Payton. I had 4.
You have Payton. Okay.
I did.
Okay.
Wait, you did or didn't have? Did I miss that? Did you not keep?
No, I Payton. No, I said Payton.
Okay,
I thought you're good. When we do these things over the years, there's always one or two positions where we just totally don't see it the same way. Or, you're looking at Howie's history of drafted players. Now, he did cut Kyle McCord last year, did make it as a 6th-round pick.
Agree. But you and I think we talked about this. The big difference between Payton and McCord, not only did they draft Payton in the 5th round, not the 6th, but they drafted Payton knowing that there are so many tools that they can work with to develop to get him where they hope he can get to. And even if he can't, they can still put him on the field, like you mentioned, in a Taysom Hill. I mean, there's ways to use him with the guy that drafted last year, McCord.
Yep.
You weren't going to be able to coach him up to be 10 times better than he already is. He was a pocket quarterback. You're not going to get him to be more mobile. You're not going to get him to be anything more than he already was, but he did not perform well. So there was less to work with there. It's not like he's this untapped or resource where you need years. I'm not trying to like bury his career. What I'm just saying is there's not as much upside as there is with Payton. So you can understand why they would move on. Yeah.
Yeah. And with McCord, the arm just didn't look good. He didn't have a good arm to begin with, very average or below average.
Right.
And that really showed up in training camp. So not that anything is easy, but I just remember seeing him in training camp. I'm like, there's no chance he deserves to be on the team. He doesn't throw the ball well enough. Like OTAs, that's why it could fool you. You got to be careful with what some of the reporters say. It's OTAs. Yep. Everybody should look good, to be honest with you. I know he's a rookie, but he was a rookie. But those are flag football 7-on-7 exhibitions. It's a passing camp. Like, he should look good. And he did. And then once the lights went on for the major leagues, his training camp, he struggled. So he's gone.
All right. So running back, we move on to Adam. That to me was the easiest position to do.
Yep.
And I don't mind breaking protocol in a sense because the Eagles, for whatever reason, have loved to keep 4, but I don't think that they're going to find a reason to keep 4 on the 53 this year. I think you got Barkley, you got Tank Bigsby, you got Will Shipley to occupy a role and even on kickoff return if he's not a bigger part of the offense. And I just don't see Dameon Pierce or Elijah Mitchell being good enough or to warrant a spot on a 53 where you need to go heavy in other areas. So I see 3 running backs.
Yeah, I'm with you. I don't see I know Elijah Mitchell's a system fit. That's why he's here. I don't see it. I just don't see it. He does fit, but he's a guy who's been hurt for almost his entire career. He's been on IR 3 times. He was a 6th-round pick at 21. He has not had a carry in a long time. I don't see it.
Right.
Yeah, and Pierce, as we said when he was signed, he struggled when they moved to zone blocking in Houston. He struggled, and he looked like a promising player. Then his career cratered, and he's looking for work. But that's it. You and I see that. Yeah, that's an easy one. You and I see that the same. 3 guys.
I mean, there's no reason why you can. And then listen, the Eagles are sort of guilty of this in the past, keeping guys who you and I thought they could just easily have on the practice squad. But especially this year, there's no reason why you can't have Pierce and Mitchell come back on your practice squad. I don't think like you need to keep them because you're worried about somebody poaching them.
Yeah,
and if they do, then you find another running back. I don't think it's that big of a deal.
They're not going to play anyway. I mean, you're not worried about it. Yeah, I agree.
Right. All right. So we both keep 7, 4 quarterbacks, 3 running backs. Okay. Now is where we might get to a little bit of a difference of opinion. I don't know. We'll see. Wide receivers. How many? First of all, before you go names, just tell me how many you kept.
All right. So it's either going to be 5 or 6.
Right.
And a couple things here. Johnny Wilson's healthy. We saw him at OTAs. He's running. He was participating in drills. That gives him at least. Then we know that he's healthy. Mm-hmm. He absolutely was missed last year in the run game. There's no question about it. That's the one thing he does well is he's a big-bodied blocking receiver. They sure as hell could have used that last season. Didn't realize how much until we were about halfway through the season when the Eagles had such a bad running game. None of us saw that, but he could have helped. I am going with 6.
Okay, so
here we go.
So now let's match it up.
All right, Smitty, Wicks, Lemon, Brown. And at $5 million fully guaranteed, that puts him on the roster for sure. Darius Cooper, our guy, and Johnny Wilson. That's 6. Elijah Moore, no way. He's a vested veteran. You could just, if you really really want him, just practice squad him, get him to agree to it. Yeah,
I'm so disappointed, man. We see this the same way.
Tight end might be interesting. Tight end, we'll see.
I know, but I thought for sure we'd have a little bit of a difference on wide receiver and be able to rationalize it. But
I mean, correct. Look, Danny Gray, forget it. He's been hurt like crazy. Samori Touré's here because of the scheme. He doesn't make it. Azukama could just go to the practice squad if they like him that much.
Yeah.
Sorry, Quez Watkins. Hive. Yeah. Yes, that he's not making it.
Yeah, you're right. It's really not that difficult. I guess the only thing that you look at is in both of us keeping the same 6, there's really not an established pure punt returner in that group unless they want Marquise Brown to do it. And I don't think he's done a ton of it. I know he has done some, if I'm not mistaken. I'd have to go back and look at how well he was as a punt returner. But that is a position where if you wanted to get away with 3 weeks of Britton Covey getting elevations and then 3 weeks of somebody else getting it, you could absolutely do that. It's not essential to hold a 53-man roster spot for somebody just
correct
because 10 years ago, yes, right? Like 10 years ago before the new practice squad rules, you would have to consider those kind of things, but now it's not as big of a deal.
Yeah, I agree.
I'm trying to let me see right here. So yeah, he's only returned. I don't think I see any punt returns in Marquise Brown's career. So he's not a punt returner. You would think he was, but
I would think one of the backup corners. Usually it's a corner, a backup receiver, a backup running back. That's when at training camp, you'll see it's really funny. Like they'll have a line of like 7 guys returning punts. And almost all of them don't do it in the regular season because they're looking for guys because it's hard to justify a spot for Covey. It's one thing if they didn't have a slot receiver, they have one. They have more than one.
Right.
They have legitimately a couple guys who could do it. So yeah, and that's where Lemon's going to line up. And you wonder if he'll do it. We'll see.
Right. All right. Let's move on to tight end. Maybe we'll see this position differently. I kept 3.
So did I. I see. Here's the thing. To me, it's going to come down to is the 3 Munt or Calcaterra.
Right.
Now, it's a minor thing, but the guaranteed money. I'll tell you right now what Calcaterra has versus Munt cake. Let's see what he's got. Let's see if I have that here. Yeah. So Johnny. That's Calcaterra, excuse me. $2 million is his total cash. They guaranteed at signing $700,000. Okay, so less than 50% of his contract. Johnny Muntcake. It's interesting. It looks like 1.5 million. They guaranteed half of it, 750,000. So it's really not. It's strictly come down to who's more willing to take a practice squad contract. And Mont's important. I mean, if Mont could still play, then it's going to be close.
Right.
If he can, it's Calcaterra. Now the problem is because Stowers doesn't block well yet, if he ever will. You're hoping not to have Goddard to play in line as the wide tight as much. You were hoping that he'd be able to run more routes.
Right.
So that's what it comes down to. But I'm with you. Now, who's your three?
I do think. I do think we need to enter a third name into the conversation.
Latu?
Yes, and I wanted to ask you. Let's talk about his contract comparatively to, because if you're going to take all three, you would have to say Latu, who played for the 49ers first, he was drafted by them before he came to the Eagles, has experience in this system and has more to offer as far as the full arsenal than, say, Munt or Calcaterra. Like, I'm not saying he catches the ball as well as Calcaterra. He doesn't. But he blocks better than Calcaterra, and he may not block as well as Munt, but he catches the ball better than Munt. So you may have a situation where you feel like he should be the third tight end.
I'm with you. It's a good thought. He's got to have a lights out camp.
I agree.
Because Munt was brought in as a West Coast offensive specialist. He knows the system. It's the only system he's played in. He's been in the league a lot of years. You're concerned that the Jaguars cut him. And he was 31 years old. So does he have anything left? I would say kind of like CJ Uzomah. We knew really early on he didn't move very well, like he was going to make it. And they brought him in to be that backup Y. It just didn't make it. So we'll learn early on. If Munt looks good, he'll be here one way or the other. And if not, I'm with you. My money would be on Latu, who has no guarantee money in his contract.
Yeah, I for the sake of a really good rationale and argument without really knowing what's going to happen, I chose Latu over Munt and Calcaterra because I like I mentioned, it was more of the best of both worlds. Now, obviously, if he doesn't perform well in camp, then he's not. As you mentioned, it's going to go to Munt or it's going to go to Calcaterra, whatever. But, I wanted to do this with some rationale and thought in mind. And if he has a really good camp, he would be an easy choice to keep over those other two, because you could probably definitely get those other two back on your practice squad.
Yeah, and Latu's the better athlete. He's definitely the better athlete.
And special teams, by the way. Special teams.
Yeah, he is. Oh, yeah.
Special teams.
Yep. And then Daquan Wright, for him to make it, he's also got to be lights out, big time lights out. And he's capable of it. He's healthy.
Sure is.
It's over the shoulder injuries. So it's Calcaterra to me seems like the odd man out because he just got exposed badly trying to block.
Right.
Can't have that when they got to get the running game back.
I agree. All right. So you did go with Munt, though, right? That was your third.
I did. Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
I went with Latu. So basically we have the same.
Cool.
Yeah. We have the same 16 right now, except for one guy. And it's really just one guy at the same position. All right. O-line. We finished this off with O-line. And by the way, neither of us kept a fullback. So running backs, no. Where's Van Sumer now? Buffalo?
Yes.
Right. And they didn't even bring it. They brought in, who's the guy from Kansas City? We didn't mention his
Carson
name.
Steele. Right.
Yeah, Carson Steele. But he's listed as a running back. I just don't see him making the 50.
Well, and Latu could do. We'll see what happens in training camp. Whether they didn't look, they didn't seem to do anything like that in OTAs. All right, let's get to offensive line.
Yep. And really,
no way we have exactly
about the backups.
What's that?
Really, it's just a question about the backups. We know who the five stars are.
Yes. So, all right, I've got 11.
Okay.
I bounced from 10 to 11. This is another one which gave me a little bit of a challenge.
Okay.
Dickerson, Steen, of course, Juergens, Mailata, and Lane Johnson.
Right.
My backups: Fred Johnson.
Okay.
Markel Bell.
Yep.
Miles Hitton. Now he got cross-trained at guard. That's important. That got him on the team.
Yep.
Cam Williams.
Mm-hmm.
Kendall is a backup center.
Yep.
cross-train at guard, and Morris is my 11.
Hey, Philly fans, game day is stressful enough. Parking, traffic, long lines. We've all been there. But when it comes to your cannabis, Camden Apothecary makes it easy. This is the dispensary for sports fans, just minutes outside of Philly with plenty of free parking. You'll be in and out fast, no hassle, no waiting. And they don't just care about convenience. Camden Apothecary is all about the guest experience. Their staff makes sure you feel taken care of every time you walk in. Plus, they carry only the best quality cannabis at the fairest prices. So whether you're stocking up for the tailgate, the watch party, or celebrating a big win, you know you're getting the good stuff without overpaying. They even show love to the community with specials for fans, students, service members, and healthcare pros. Camden Apothecary, top quality cannabis, great prices, and an experience made for Philly fans 21 and up. Okay, so we're very similar. I originally had 11. And then, we obviously will do the defense in the next one, but I needed room, right? So I'm like, where can I shave off some room? So I wound up cutting, because I have the same other 5 backups as you: Fred Johnson, Drew Kendall, Markel Bell, Micah Morris, and Cameron Williams. But I did cut Miles Hinton. I did consider the fact that he was on the guard, and that might be a good. But here's the thing: we don't know if they like what they see. They're just experimenting.
Oh, yeah. They won't know until the end of training camp. Yeah,
of course. So, like, without the knowledge of how well he'll perform there, I said I'm going to make him expendable for the sake of keeping. When we do our defensive podcast in the next episode, you'll see I wanted to go deeper at another spot, and that's why I shaved off Miles Hinton.
All right, cool. Well,
So
yeah.
You and I were kind of chalk here, man. I mean, like, really, other than offensive line is the only one where we kept a different number, and tight end was the only one where we kept a different name, but we were pretty much the same the whole way on out.
Yeah, it's not that Howie isn't willing to cut his draft picks 5th, 6th, or 7th round.
Mm-hmm.
It depends on the position. Quarterback's an important position. Now, if you went to training camp, you knew that there's no way they could legitimately keep McCord on the roster. He was awful, to be honest with you. Training camp, he just was like, boy, it was to the point where, like, he's a right-handed thrower. It's like, is he hurt?
Right.
He cannot get that ball past 15 yards with any juice on it.
Right.
But yeah, it's. I didn't think defense was way more challenging. Way more. That was the one that took me the longest, was defense. Offense was actually fairly quick with the Cole Payton challenge. But on the next show, you're going to hear defense, because you have to take special teams into consideration and understand, like, which position guys count as. Right. Because if somebody gets hurt, as the Eagles learned in 2017, when Jordan Hicks tore his Achilles, when Peters tore his ACL, when Sproles tore his ACL. In fact, Hicks tore his Achilles and Peters tore the ACL in the same game against Washington. Against Washington in Week 7. And that's early to lose two big-time players. And who would have known that the guy who was good, he made the team, Joe Walker, wound up starting some games.
Amazing, right?
Yeah.
I remember that. Joe Walker, what a name from the Oregon.
How about that? Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. All right. The reason why defense is challenging, Adam, is also because, based on just what we did on offense, you kept 27 players on offense. I kept 26 because you kept Miles Hinton, right?
Yep.
That means you only have room for 23 players on defense, and I have room for 24. So either way, we're getting less defensive players when there's a bigger pool to choose from. And even if you and I both decide that the Eagles aren't going to roster a long snapper for the first few weeks and try to elevate him, oh, you do? Okay. Well, I was going to say, it still would only create one more. Like, there's still going to be more offensive players than defensive players. So that makes the next podcast really interesting on defense.
Oh, I got one. I got one. There's no way you got I don't want to give it away. There's no way you got this guy in the roster.
Oh, okay. We'll see. We'll see about that. All right. Great stuff. That's going to do it for the offensive version of our 53-man roster projection. For Adam Caplan, I'm Geoff Mosher. Thanks for watching Inside the Birds, the leading podcast in Eagles Intel. And as always, we thank you for flying with us Inside the Birds. Be sure to check out our friends at PHLSportsNation.com. They're enhancing the fans' experience with their coverage of all Philadelphia sports teams. For the fan, by the fan is their motto. So make sure you check them out at PHLSportsNation.com and on Twitter at PHLSportsNation.